Right, so today we're going to have an attempt at doing this drive shaft on the Ford Fiesta. I've got a second-hand one, I'll show you that in a second. But the problem I've got now is I don't have a breaker bar that I can find. I may have to order one, so this may I might start this job and then carry it on tomorrow. But let's have a look at the drive shaft first. Right, so I've got this second-hand off eBay. It looks like it's sort of probably been sat around for a bit, but then perhaps mine looks as rusty as that, I don't know yet. But it's a genuine Ford part. And it's fully complete, so it's still got the original clips on it as well for the CV joints, whereas mine actually had a zip tie on there, so mine had been apart previously. So this is what we're going to replace. It's got a bearing there that doesn't look the best, but I'll probably just grease that and hope for the best. It's basically the inside that needs to matter anyway, so as long as it can spin on the inside of it, it should be okay. That should just clamp in on a bracket, but the rest of it looks okay. So yes, we're going to jack the car up, take the wheel off, take the centre cap out of the wheel, and then try, hopefully, using a 32mm socket. I'll try my impact gun. I don't think it's going to be powerful enough. And then I'm going to try it with a ratchet, and then add an extension on with a socket to double the length of that, and hopefully that'll do it, but it probably won't. But we'll see. Very unexpected, but my battery gun got it off no bother. I soaked it with WD-40. The threads all look fine, but I gave it a good soak for a little bit, and then just got the old Ryobi out. 3-speed on speed 3, and away it went. I don't actually know what this is rated to be honest, in torque, this thing. But it's normally, sometimes it struggles, but for some reason it took that off absolutely no problem. And it was bloody tight, mind, but yeah, got it off. So we can now get this end of the shaft out. I still need to split the ball joint actually, but I need to get the car back further up in the air, and on the jack on the other side, on the axle stand on the other side, higher up, gearbox oil to drain, yeah, and then ball joint to split, and then try and fit, oh yeah, take the carrier off. There's a carrier on the inside in there, like a bearing carrier somewhere in there. I need to look at that and get that off. Should be this side of the boost pipe. Can't actually see it from here, but we'll get on and get that changed. So problem is, first part of the job's gone well, and this is the bit that I was thinking was going to be an arse, so that means the rest of the job's probably not going to go well. Bloody cars there, Fords. Okay, so to drain your gearbox oil, you need to be on the gearbox side of the engine. So this is what would be a passenger side, because my car's a right-hand drive, and it's this bit there. You can see where my socket is. So it's an 8mm Allen key, which just leaves enough room to get your ratchet on. So that one there is your drain, and then it's really difficult to actually see up here. I think your fill is, see that one there? That's your fill. So drain there, just follow it round and upwards onto the front of your gearbox, and that's your fill point there. It's the same size Allen key, just 8mm also. You're probably better off getting a piece of like silicone pipe to go up the way and feed it all the way up to the top, and then fill it from there, because you're going to struggle to fill it from here. So we need to find a piece of silicone pipe to do that with as well. So that's another job to look for. But yeah, so first thing is get the oil pan out, drain this gearbox oil, see how much there actually is in it. There might not be much in it at all. And then we can split the ball joint, which is the next job, which is there. Split the ball joint. That'll leave the hub out from the arm out from the hub. The shaft, the hub nut's loose on the shaft, so that shaft should just come out, and it's also broken, so I can take this piece out on its own. And then up there we need to somehow prise that out of there. It's got a nice little lip on there. I don't have a crowbar, but I might have to go and buy one. And there's a bearing carrier sort of bracket. Where we at? Let's lie underneath the car. If you can see where we at. Spin round to the right of it. There you go. So you've got two bolts there, the 13s or 12s, probably 13s, two bolts on that which hold that bearing carrier on the drive shaft into there. So that's to split. But of course this shaft's in two pieces, so I can take the first piece out the hub, ignore that, and then sort that out later. And like I say, I'm hoping that, where we are, hoping that there is going to be easy enough to just pop out that way. I've got ball joint splitters, like a fork thing, like that, so maybe I'll be able to bash the fork up there and it'll pop the shaft out. You never know. So the good news is that actually looks like it's decent oil. It's in the gearbox, it's quite clear. quite golden, so that's pretty decent, and maybe it's been changed at some point. Does look like it's had a shaft out of it anyway, but yeah, 8mm. It was very tight, but there we go. So I used, where are we at? This camera's annoying how it doesn't follow me, but yeah, I basically put my extension over the end of my ratchet to give me extra leverage. No problem. We'll just let that drain now. Don't let it drip on your drive. Oops, move that cloth. Yeah, so we used the ball joint splitters, and eventually managed to get it off, but potentially may have bust the rubber boot on it, so that's something that I'm going to have to replace at some point. But I might get some uprated arms anyway with better poly brushes in, so I'll probably do it that time. But for the meantime, it should be okay. It was an absolute ass to get it off, really tight. Eventually managed to hammer that fatter end in there, got that right up to the end of the C part there, and then just basically just smacked my foot on top of that. It popped the balls right out, so that at least came out. So we can now pull the hub this way and pull that shaft, that piece of shaft out. That should just fall to bits because I just basically loosely pushed it back together in there, so it'll fall to bits. So that's one part out at least, which is a good start. Right, so the bracket that holds the drive shaft in place is this little thing here. That sort of holds on that bearing, and they're just two 13mm nuts that are there. I got one with the ratchet, the top one, and the bottom one I had to use a spanner because of the boost pipe being in the way. If I took the boost pipe off, it would have come up with a ratchet, no problem. So now, as we lie under the car, that's our drive shaft. It's basically free because I've taken the front part out of the hub already, so this piece here is the only bit that's left in, and this actually looks like it may just wiggle out. Wait a minute, where am I at? That's the wrong way for the camera. There you go. So you can see there's I'm wiggling it. There you go, it's actually come out. Shit. I'll best put it back in because there's still oil in there. I should probably get my tub. But there you go, that's the drive shaft completely out and ready to put the new one back in. Okay then, so our replacement shaft is now in the gearbox, and then it's there all the way into the hub. So I've put the hub nut on just loosely for now, just so I can get the ball joint back into position, which is there. And then all I've got to do is, once the ball joint's back in position, nip the ball joint up and then put that carrier bearing thing bracket with the two 30mm nuts on, which kind of sits, you can just kind of see one of the nuts there, one of the threads fit there. Do that, and then I'll buzz gun the hub nut as much as I can. I'll put the car back down on the floor with the wheel on it, and then I will torque the hub nut up. Once I find out the settings, it'll be about maybe around, I don't know, a couple hundred newton meters, maybe 300 newton meters, maybe not that much, we'll find out. Hopefully my torque wrench goes that far. If not, I'll just gun it as far as I can and see if it feels alright, and I'll take it somewhere and they can check it for me later. But so far that's gone in okay. Oh yeah, sorry, we've got to refill the oil as well from up there somehow, which I haven't worked that out yet, but I will somehow work it out. Maybe I have to take the air filter off and get from it from above. So I was prepared to go and find a funnel, but it turns out that the actual bottle itself in the cap has a pouring device there, see it? So that's cool, that's just going to fit straight into my pipe, hey, and then fill that up. So you can see, where's my pipe gone? It's down there. There it is there. So we just basically need to put that bottle into that pipe and let all that go in, and then about another 0.7 litres, and that's it done. Right, so that's us. We are completed our task. The drive shaft's in, gearbox oil is in, everything's done. Wheels torqued back on. The hub nut. Is it called the king nut? Castle nut. There were castle nuts on Vauxhall anyway. The split pin thing. But anyway, another story. I've tightened that as far as I can to go with the torque wrench I've got, which is about, I think it's 195 newton meters. I think I need 255 newton meters possibly. I think it was when I read it. Mine doesn't go that far obviously, but mine clicks off on max, so it's tighter than what the setting of mine is, and I've basically moved it as far as I physically can, and obviously I gunned it on as well in the first place, so it should be okay, but I will get it checked. And now we're about to give it, I tell you what, it's really hot today. Really hot. I don't know how temperature is, what's it going to tell me, but it's really hot. So that's the car started. 23, not bad for working in this. So now let's see if we've got any gears, or move and drive anyway, because we should still have gears, so we haven't taken the gearbox off. So yeah, obviously I've done nothing there, so that would have changed. So let's put it in reverse. And then we have drive, we are moving. So that's good, there's a positive. So the drive shaft is driving. So I'm going to call that a success. Yeah, I mean, it was a failure to begin with, but so yeah, it was a complete failure to begin with on my own part. Maybe I should support, if you support the hub when you pull your shocker off on that side, especially if you've got dodgy zip tie on your CB boot, it probably wouldn't have felt a bit. The one I replaced it with, the Ford one, actually really solid, so that's a good thing. It was actually held together really well, because I was a bit worried when I was lifting it in place that it was going to fall apart. It didn't. Spot on, it was dead easy. So we've now got drive again, which is fantastic. So next thing I can now do is I can get these coilovers set up, because it's been a while since I did it, but I've not even driven the car. So I'm going to go and have a shower, because it's red hot, and probably drink a beer, and then I'll report back with getting the setup of these coilovers done, because I need it on flat ground to measure the height, obviously, to make sure everything's level front and rear, both sides. It looks pretty good, but you never know. We'll measure it all properly. Excellent. Horrible job done.